The Anita Podcast.
Hi, it's Anita, and welcome to episode 10 of the Anita Podcast. Okay, so this one's a little bit wild and a little bit fun for me. My guest today and I actually met a full year before he became one of the Bachelors in the final Australian series, no less. And neither of us realised until it was way after I'd already interviewed him for the show. We're talking a year or so later. How crazy is that? He actually pieced it together after we kept crossing paths at events. And then he brought it up one day pretty awkwardly. It was so funny. And the second he did, it all came flooding back to me. Honestly, amazing. Safe to say we're meant to be friends. And now here we are chatting about his life on my own show, which is so very special. So for those of you who may not know who he is, Wesley Senna Cortes is a Brazilian-born model, former reality TV star and actor who began his career acting at just 14. He's spent the last decade plus building a career across Brazil, the US, and Australia. After moving here in 2014 to study theology, he went on to become one of the most talked about leads in Bachelor Australia history after telling a national audience he'd never had a girlfriend and was still a virgin. Since then, he's shaken off that reality TV persona and pivoted hard into theatre and on-screen work, most recently leading the world premiere of Gravity at Qtopia, Sydney. So it is my absolute pleasure to welcome my friend Wesley Senna Cortes to the Anita Podcast. But also thank you for waiting for me. That was really awkward. I actually can't. You know what's going to happen now that you just saw me walk in?
And look, I felt like I was a big brother just watching, just like, oh, what's the
That
name?
is so great.
And you're like, when you're super close to the screen, you're doing this one, like, it was
You
so
know
funny.
what's so funny? It's because I couldn't find the screen, and I knew that if I kept the studio open, that I'd forget and I did. Did you ever see Mitch Churi? Do you know Mitch Churi?
I think I've seen this face. I've seen his face, but
Yeah.
I don't think we've met.
He's hilarious. So Mitch Churi, he is amazing. He used to have Midnight to Mitch or the Mitch Churi show at nighttime on Kiss. And anyway, he did this interview with Miley Cyrus and he was sitting there waiting and he was on his phone like this. And then he even sneezed. And then Miley's like, hello?
No.
She'd been there the entire time.
No. Oh my gosh. That is funny though. That creates
It
an
is
instant moment.
the funniest video. It's so
Yeah.
funny.
I love
Absolute. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I don't really know. I've actually never heard the interview beyond that, but Mitch has brought it out a couple of times because it is so funny. It's just hilarious in the day.
that.
And this is
Now
what
I'm
that
gonna
felt
look
like. And
up.
I'm going to go to bed tonight thinking about how awkward that was. Lucky I know you. Imagine if I didn't know you.
It would have been even funnier.
I know. I'm just like putting on my light. I'm just like meandering in. I'm like, I'm talking to myself, coming
Getting
into
very
the room, chewing my dinner.
talking to the kids. Oh, it's so nice and warm in here.
It
Oh
was.
my
It was so warm when I walked in, and it was actually a little bit. And then you were like, "Hello."
Can you hear me?
Anyway, yeah, I can hear you. I can
So
hear you.
what did
You were
you
like,
what
"Can I
did
hear?"
you
Oh my
say?
god! I just realized what you just did. You just went, "Can you hear me? Hello, hello, can you hear me?" That is so funny. Anyway, I thought it was hilarious, but I can't believe that you're doing this interview when you were up at 3 a.m. watching Brazil.
Yes, I am. I nearly had a heart attack. I've been trying to get up for 4:30, 4:40, which is a running club in Bronte for so long. They start running at 5 a.m. and I've never been able to. Once in my life I've been to there, but Brazil plays 3 a.m. I get up, watch. And oh my gosh, it's a stressful to be Brazilian, Anita. It's
Is that? It's because you're so passionate.
it's a full-time job. Yeah,
It's because you guys are like so passionate, and you're like, it's a full-time job.
and we genuinely believe there's no other alternative for Brazilians but to win. Whereas when I was watching with Aussies, it was so funny because the pub was pumped and everyone was super stoked. But the funniest thing was that every time the Socceroos would steal the ball, everyone started clapping. And I was like, the expectations are so low that if you guys steal the ball, you're already super excited. I was like, this is amazing. Whereas Brazilians are complaining all the time,
We
if
are
you don't
so
score
genuinely
three
just
goals,
so happy to be there.
yeah,
I think
exactly.
we are
Exactly.
so happy to be there. It is when you talk soccer in Australia, it's like we're just, yes, the Socceroos, you made it. But Matildas are a different story. Matildas, we have
Yeah.
much better expectations for them, but when it comes to, or higher expectations for them, but when it comes to the Socceroos, we've been so disappointed for so long that I don't even know, this is going to be completely wrong, so somebody correct me, but the Socceroos, I don't know if they've ever done well. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
they did. When Mark Viduka and Carrie Kuehl, love him so much.
Yeah. Let's
He's
search.
beautiful.
What's the furthest
Oh my God, I love it when we do fact checking.
the Socceroos
I'm scared to get up and do any sort of fact
ever
checking with
what's the
you.
furthest Socceroos have ever won in a World Cup? The furthest Socceroos have ever reached at the FIFA World Cup is the round of 16. They did that in 2006 and 2022. So
Wait, what's
if
round 16?
So round 16, so you have the group stage, which
Mm,
is four countries, they all play against each other.
yeah.
Then up until the last World Cup, you will go to the round 16. But now they've increased the number of nations playing. So now they implemented the round of 32. So Socceroos made it now in this World Cup 2026 to the round of 32 right now. So Australia is going to play Egypt. And if they win, they go to the round 16 and then they're going to play bloody Argentina. So I'm going to be so Aussie if Australia plays against Argentina. Because if there's one thing the Brazilians cannot stand, it's Argentina.
Imagine if the Socceroos play
No,
Argentina,
honestly,
though.
if Socceroos beat Argentina, I will parade Pitt Street in a Budgies mug. The Australian flag.
Talking about the Socceroos, do you think that let's get your opinion on the Socceroos. Do you
You
think
know,
that the Socceroos are good? Do you think we're in the grand scheme of the world?
look, I'm not going to sit here pretend that I am a soccer expert because
You're
I'm
just a
not.
Brazil expert.
No, exactly. And I'm afraid that my non-Brazilian friends might think that I am bipolar because I couldn't give a fuck for soccer for outside of the World Cup. Don't ask me who the goalkeeper is. I have no clue. But in the World Cup, I am so fanatic. I'm talking about every day. I'm posting. I can't sleep. I'm nervous. So funny how I don't give a shit during for 4 years, and then World Cup comes around. That's all I think about.
That's because you're
So
Viva Brazil. What do you say? What do you
yeah,
say? Viva Brazil? No.
vai Brasil.
Vai
Yeah,
Brasil.
vai Brasil.
Vai.
I think it's because we
Oh, it's
grow up
Viva
with that.
España.
We grow up with that. Anita, there is absolutely nothing like growing up in a country that genuinely believes they can win the World Cup. It's like the whole country only lives and breathes that. Like, no, if we were in Brazil right now, people will be painting the streets. There will be flags everywhere. The supermarkets will be flooded with, yellow and green. If Brazil is playing, everyone's allowed to stop working. So the country stops. Like people are honking on the traffics. Like it's a whole nother experience. People need to experience to know. But I feel like Australia don't give a crap for soccer.
No, we do. We do. Well.
Okay. Yeah. When Matildas was playing in the last World Cup, that was the closest I've ever seen Australia to the atmosphere that Brazil has. Yeah.
Matildas do something to this country that I don't know what it is and why. But I think it's fabulous because Australian women's sport does not get nearly the amount of coverage that the male sport
Oh,
does.
women's sport in
But
general, yeah.
yeah, women's sport in general, of course. But
Mm,
thank you for mansplaining that to me.
fuck. So ask me that.
You're like, no, as a woman ally,
Yeah, trying to tell women about women's.
you're like, no, actually,
Oh
all
my
women's
god,
sport does.
I'm gonna be cancelled.
I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Cut that
It's
stuff
so
up and
funny.
put it on Instagram. I loved it. I think it's great. No, it is. It's true. The women's women's all women's sport it never gets anything. But the Matildas do something to this country, which I love. And look, I think if the Socceroos make it to the 16, well, they have to now if we've done it in 2003 and 2000 and did you say 2006?
2006 and
2023.
22.
22. It's every 4 years, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You can explain that to me. I actually have no idea.
Okay, fine.
Mick is like, Mick is a massive, he's a sport fanatic. Like he grew up in a household that had 2 TVs in their living room.
Wow.
So he is sport. And he watches every single highlight of every single game. He gets up for the Socceroos. Like and also my uncle Fernando, he is a soccer. They're both Liverpool supporters. Like whenever they're together, it's like, and you know what's really funny? The two of them met for the first time like a couple of years ago at Christmas, and they were sitting there and just talk. And I'm like, are you guys talking about Liverpool? And they're like, oh, you support Liverpool? So it was so weird that these 2 Liverpool supporters found each other and were like magnetized to one another and they hadn't even talked about Liverpool, and now they, text about it and whatever. It's very cute.
And talking about Mick, have you told him how we met?
No segue. He does. He knows how we met. He knows how we met. We met on a boat. We met on a boat. We met on a boat. This is so crazy because what I'm trying to think of, I was trying to figure out the year that we met on that boat, at that boat.
It was
party.
the year before, Batchy, 2022, I believe.
Is that what? It was a Sunday. I know that for sure. Mm-hmm. It was a Sunday and it was 2022. Is that where we met? And then like we left the boat. And then 2023, you did Batchy.
That's correct, yeah.
And then I interviewed you. Did I interview you in December? Is that when it came out?
Yeah, you interviewed us in November. The junket was in November. And then
it was in November.
December, yeah.
And that was really funny because I have footage of both you and Ben. Both you and Ben hitting on me. Mick knows this. But I have footage. Well, when I say hitting on me, like you both were you were like, so Anita.
You should cut right now and put that.
Yeah, I will. It's actually more of Ben doing. Ben was like, oh, after you, like, because you just kept asking me questions and I was trying to like do this bloody interview and the 3 of you were so hyper. And apparently I had hyped you up. Apparently you guys were like real chill. And then I come along and you were like 3 little toddlers. And
we were
bouncing off the wall.
I think we had just been off Kaio and Jackie O, and the publicist had really prepped us that they would have really ripped us apart. And it turns out they were super chill. So I felt like we were kind of nervous. And then you were right after that. So we were kind of a bit more chill, But that's funny that Ben, I don't remember, but that's funny that Ben would have been hitting on you because he was technically single, but no one could know.
Yeah, no, I remember. But so were you, right?
I was, yes.
But, you were, but it was just Luke that wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Luke had Ellie, R.I.P. to that relationship.
Yes. And that is the most fucked up thing about reality TV in Australia, because my only reference was Brazil Big Brother, which is a huge mammoth of reality TV, but it's live. You watch it happen for 3 months.
I love Big Brother.
Yeah. So in Australia, the concept of shooting a reality TV, then going away, editing, and after 3 or 4 months releasing, for me, that's so weird, because that's not really reality in my head. So that was the worst part for me, to have to put on a face and come watch the most romantic season ever, knowing full well that was about to get absolutely F.
I'm just laughing at it being the most romantic season ever. Like,
we had to say that in everything. It was so.
Do you know what I'm wondering? I can't remember. Did you leave? Did you leave towards the end, or did you? Oh no, you chose.
I chose Bria. So
Bria.
So I think they try to do a bit of a maths inside Bachelor. So that was never an option for any Bachelor before, apparently. And then because to choose one person before the end.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you because I have to ask this question. And if I don't ask now, I'll forget. Question, since we're talking about Bachelors, did you know from the beginning that you were going to choose her?
There were really so my top, the one that I had actually most feelings for initially was Holly. Holly was the girl that I liked the most in the beginning. Yeah. So, but Holly, she was at the dance date and then she said, "Oh, I'm not really feeling anything." And then Bria was the girl that I picked in the edit in the first episode. They make it look like Bria was the last girl that I talked to in the cocktail party. But Bria was actually the first girl that I talked to. So as soon as Osha says, "Hey guys, hey, these are the bachelors," and it goes, "Oh my gosh!" So then,
They do. They.
and then they go, "Okay, guys, now you go and choose someone first." And then I was the first one. I went straight to Bria. She was right at the back. And then in the edit, for whatever reason, they wanted to portray as if she was the last one, which was weird. Anyways, but there's a bunch of things in that episode they portrayed that was not true. Like we were not all three of us fighting for McKenna, you know?
I don't even remember any of these people. Oh, McKenna's the one that Ben chose at the end, wasn't she? How do
Yes.
I remember that? Do you even like talking about it?
It's not that I like or dislike. It's just a wild chapter in my life. I think people have a lot of curiosity when they find out. So it was funny. Just at work this week, I work for a marketing agency and I manage some companies. And one of my new clients found out about it. And as soon as people find out, I know exactly the questions will be: How was it? Is it real? Did you find love? So I don't know. For whatever reason, there's it plays something in people's imaginary.
Mm.
I don't mind answering, but I don't bring it up otherwise.
Oh my God, no, of course. I mean, like, it's not something to be ashamed of. I mean, you guys did
Yeah,
single-handedly burn down the entire franchise, but
yeah,
it's
exactly. We made sure there won't be another. No,
yeah, you definitely put your stamp on that one, guys.
it
So you were portrayed as if you obviously are full of faith, full of faith.
was,
You are very being, very true to, what is the word? What do you say? True to your faith. You love faith.
I
You
guess some people say religious or
you are religious.
spiritual
Yeah,
or
you're
Christian. Yeah.
yeah, you're religious. They really hammered that home, and they also
Oh,
hammered
Jesus
the whole
Christ.
thing home that you were a virgin.
Yes.
Can we talk about that? I'm only laughing because I'm like, that must have been horrific.
Yeah,
Oh my God, you should see your face.
that was when I realized that they already had an agenda and there's things. So my only research in going into this was watching the previous season, and I could see already. I'm not naive. I'm not stupid. I can see things, so I can see that there would be, trying to portray a story or things like that. But you only know fully reality TV when you've done it. And for me, hindsight, there's so many thoughts, but it's interesting because, yes, I think for the average Australian, I am religious, would say I do love Jesus. I grew up going to church. I'm not ashamed of that. I worked for Hillsong for 5 years. I have a master's in theology. I was actually studying to become a minister, in fact, because I love people. I love meeting people. I love this. I
Hmm.
love
Yeah.
talking to people. Every time people would stop me on the streets to ask for photos or anything like that, I would just spend half an hour to get to know them. Like I love that stuff. But I never would try to shove anything down anyone's throat.
Hmm.
If you don't want to believe, that's fine. Do you live your life?
Totally. I agree. Yeah.
So I feel like the way they portrayed, gosh, it made me no it gave me nausea because it's the person that my whole my life never wanted to be like, and I'm not that person that kind of forces things down people's throat. So I think there's several, and all that is to say, I'm not here to play victim as well. I signed a contract. I did it to myself as well. So I'm not here trying to blame production and put it all on them. I put myself in that situation. But again, you only know fully when you do it. So there was times when producers would come to me and they would say, "Wes, what's your character's trajectory?"
Your
And I would say,
character's trajectory.
yeah, like you have to have a bit of a story arc. The way that you started needs to be different than the way the way that you finish needs to be different than the way that you started. And I was like, what do you mean by that? They're like, oh, we need to have some quick swings in your story, and things like that. And I don't know what they were trying to do, if they wanted me to have sex in the show with someone, just to portray the guy that came in virgin and then found love and then had sex with one of the girls. I don't know if they wanted something else, but I was always giving them notes whenever they were asking me about talk about your faith, talk about your faith. I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not let's go out dancing. Let's go out have fun. I'm not this religious guy that you super religious that you guys are trying to portray. So that was a lot of work I had to do afterwards. A myself first, and I did a lot of soul searching after the show to come back to my senses because I was not in a good place. I was not well. I was broken. I was seeing two psychologists for 2 months every week. I didn't know what was right or wrong. I didn't know who was real. I didn't know which friendships were real or what people said if was a producer that made them say or if they were legitimate. So I felt at the end of the show, I felt like I was at the world of Truman, the Truman Show.
Mm, mm-hmm.
I was in a fabricated world for five weeks. Because when you go in, they take your phone, they take your watch, your wallet. You're not allowed to talk to family outside of it. I had one call to family that I bawled my eyes out because I was not allowed to even talk in Portuguese to my parents. It had to be in English so they could understand what I was talking. So yeah, it was a wild. I'm grateful for the people, for some friendships that I did after. I think it gave me a glimpse into this wild west of entertainment world.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have met people like yourself or
Yeah,
some
totally.
some of the girls that I still talk to. So I don't regret it. But once you hang out in the kitchen, you don't want to eat the food. So I have thoughts about reality TV.
Look, do you know it's interesting? And I actually think that is why I struggle to watch it now,
Yeah.
except for Summer House and for Below Deck, which has always been the ones that I will watch. And actually, I'm watching Million Dollar Nannies at the moment because I've just gobsmacked by it, but great show. But the thing is that once you know exactly how the food is made, you do not want to be. The amount of people who said, well, Anita, especially when I was single, you'd be an amazing bachelorette. I had the producers of Maths asking me to be on Maths. Like, there's no way. I got a call for Survivor back in the day. Like, I just know because I've been on the side of it where it ruins lives.
Yeah.
And it sounded like your experience was really similar. Like, I
Mm.
can see it happening. We all used to befriend everybody on reality TV, and I used to make it my mission to help anybody who needed it with,
Oh,
whether you had to put a statement out, an Instagram post, whatever, because people forget that it's your real life. When I was at one of the publications I was at, my bread and butter was reality TV. And
yeah.
the things I remember writing things and just going, this does not sit well with me. And now I refuse to do gotcha moments. I refuse to do anything. If you tell me, great, but I'm not going to try and get it out of you.
I generally do not understand people that go from reality to reality to reality, especially dating ones. It is
Totally.
absolute. I understand that The Bachelor has had successful cases. Tim Roberts is a good friend, and him and Anna, and they have beautiful children. And he was actually one of those genuine friendships that this whole experience brought in, and we bonded over this and over acting as well. He's been such an incredible support, and they are what the producers would display, right? Look at this, you can find love.
Mm,
But being the first season where there was no social media, there was nothing like that. It's so different to fast forward 11 seasons later. The
yeah.
reality TV, it's not the place to find love.
It's a completely different beast now, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You would have had girls who wanted they wanted to be influencers. They wanted to have followings. And I'm talking about influencers in the most basic sense, not the ones
Yeah.
who work really hard for it. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the ones who just want the following, and that's how unfair to you to go and be on this show. But then, I could argue that some of the bachelors
Oh, yeah, 100%. I
have
think,
been on for their own agenda as well.
yeah, there's one thing I learned in theology is that it is impossible to have motivations that are 100% pure. No human being have 100% pure motivations. Even when you donate something to charity, at the end of the day, you want to feel a little bit good about yourself.
Totally. Yeah.
So I would argue, yeah, that everybody that says yes, myself included, there was definitely a sense of I wanna my dating life sucks and I wanna focus on this. But there's also a sense of, oh, could life change after this? Could I do something else with my life? Even as small as it may be, there will always be something of that. And I would say that if someone denies, I don't trust. I don't trust them.
Oh, I'm here for the right reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
You were so triggered by that.
gosh.
I don't want to
That
put all
and
my
the word connection. Gosh.
connection.
Gosh, I think we have a good connect. Oh,
I think we have a good connection after 5 seconds. Actually, now that we're on a bit of a more lighter note to this, I am
yeah.
curious, how much time did you spend with the girls? Because I know that it's not much time at
No,
all.
yeah. Look, I would say that my top girls were Holly, Bria, Jade, and the one that I spent the most time was definitely Bria because we went all the way to the final. But on a average date, I think on a single date, it would be the wildest experience because we arrive at this place where we're gonna have our single date. And there's like 30 people in black. How do you call when there's a bunch of people following? There's a name for that in English.
A bunch of people following.
It's an entourage of,
Entourage.
yeah. English is second language.
I know it. I'm just tired.
Yeah. You can see that there's going to be a date there because there's an entourage of people wearing black.
Mm-hmm.
So we arrive at this place to have a date and I can see my date.
Wait, well, where's that you organized for her?
Exactly. Exactly. I
That
thought,
you blood, sweat, and tears to think
I
about
thought
what is
so.
Bria gonna love.
She's gonna love the details of this date and the dress that I picked for her and the food that I know that she loves. Like everything, I planned it.
Yeah.
And I can see
Gosh,
her
you
right.
are
I'm so romantic. Yeah. So
so
soft.
romantic.
The
You
most
can see
romantic
her.
the most romantic season ever. And then and then I can see my date just a few steps in front of me, but we're not allowed to talk to each other because the camera is not on. So it's this awkward silence between someone that I am keen to get to know, and then we have to be all mic'd up. And only when we are the camera is on and they say, okay, you can go, that's when we can have oh, hi, you look great, but already feels disingenuous because I've seen her, I've been standing right next to her without being able to talk to her, you know? So that's how we start. That's how a date starts. And then we will have perhaps, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes of a genuine date, like either talking or, yeah, just genuinely talking. And then there will be a break. And then
Mhm.
I will go be taken by my producer. She will go be taken by her producer. And in the moment, he is giving me a bunch of notes and saying, oh, what do you think of what she said here? Could you ask this follow up question? And the same is happening with her. So the time we come back and reconvene, it's already again disingenuous because there's been people talking on our heads telling us what we should ask or what we should talk about. So it is just not, I believe, not the place to find love. Oh,
How
yeah.
lucky are those who did find love? Because in that situation, and that's why I'm always dying to know, did you know? And they would never tell me until like 10 years later, did you know immediately? Because I just can't imagine that you'd have, I mean, sure, you might have connection with a couple of girls and yeah, whatever, but girls are kept by the producers, right? They keep them in. You're not allowed to eliminate them.
Yes, yes. There were some, because there was a rotation as well of who was gonna give the last rose. So not because my season was three guys again. So we rotated who was gonna be the one eliminated. But for example, oh my gosh, I forgot her name, the German girl, Lisa.
You're
So
bringing back such random memories for me. I just don't even remember the last time I even thought about this.
so Lisa was this
Except for when I
rogue.
see you and make fun of you and I'm like going out in public and I'm like, guys, he was the bachelor. Do you remember?
Gosh. And I just try to hide myself.
I'm such a pest.
Gosh, she's
Sorry,
so
yeah,
bad.
Lisa. Lisa.
But yeah, Lisa was this rogue. She was this funny German girl that she was playing the whole like bad bitch kind of character, and I was just generally not into her. So
Mm,
from day 2, I was already saying, "Hey, if she comes to my group, she's going the next day." You know? And then they kept keeping her, kept keeping her. And then I would go on a date with Bria, and Bria would tell me that Lisa was giving her a hard time, and I would go back to the producer. I was like, "Why am I keeping this girl who's giving a hard time to the girl that I want to stay with? What does that say about me?" You know,
yeah,
when I give her a rose, the first thing Bria's gonna ask me, "Why did you give Lisa a rose?" And I'm not allowed to tell her, but the producers asked me to, you know, because she needs to think that I have agency over everything.
just like
So
the dates and just like it's
yeah,
so
so
archaic. It's crazy.
so
It's
that
crazy because your whole life is being told like there's not an ounce of reality to it. What would you say was real?
I would say that whenever the cameras are on us during the dates, not during those interview moments where we're looking sideways to the camera, there are some genuine moments happening there. When we are having a good time, or splashing water onto yourself, or having a kiss, or cooking, or there's some genuine moments that happen first before we have breaks, when then producers come and tell us what to ask, what to continue the conversation. So, but that's then can again be edited in the edit suite.
It's called editing, but Frankenbiting's when they use three different words from three different sentences and edit them together.
Yeah.
And I know that that happens a lot. Yeah. It's really
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I think Australia is having a really big the audiences, you can tell. I'm gonna be really interested to see how The Traders goes because I have friends on there, and I'll be really interested to see how that goes because I think Australia has we have such a disdain for reality TV. The only one that everyone watches now is Maths, which is just
Yeah.
disgusting television.
Yeah. I had friend. I met people that went on maps after, and then I heard the stories, and it is just a pe. I think it's where people go to honestly wave goodbye to their own agencies and identity, and because they take control of your whole story. And I genuinely believe that there will be a time, and I've seen already people. I mean, someone, I think a girl released a book, The Bad Edit, or
Yeah.
The Villain, or something like that.
The
So there's
villain
a bit,
edit. Yeah.
yeah, The Villain Edit. So their stories already coming out. But I honestly believe there will be some sort of royal commission or Me Too movement coming out of reality TV. I think that will be
Wow.
something when one person bursts, and then the others will feel empowered to come forward. And I do believe that there will be some things that will bring more red tape to reality.
You're an incredible human because you stand up for what you believe is right. Do you think, and look, you may not know the answer to this, do you think that if that happened, would you stand up and say your experience?
100%. Yeah, totally. Totally. If that helps protect people afterwards, I mean, I do what I can. And if people approach me to ask about reality TV, I'll say, first, don't do it, especially if it's dating. And then, but I think there's two sides of this. I think now that I've done it, I have the aspect of someone that before and after. So it's so easy for someone that hasn't gone through this go, but you're an idiot. You signed up for this. You signed a contract. You knew what this was about. Why did you say yes to? So I understand if people say that, but at the same time, you only know fully until you've done it.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so again, I'm not here to play victim. I'll take full responsibility. I said yes to this, but again, there's things that happens there that I had no visibility, and I had to have meetings while we were filming with the executive producers about it. So yeah, I definitely think there will come a time when enough people will say enough, and then some, I don't know, investigation or some of sorts will happen, I think. But yeah, it's important to stand up for these things.
Think as a generation, we are all choosing the path of, I guess you could say, enlightenment, if that's the way to say it. People could say, Anita, you wrote about me in reality TV. You wrote this, you wrote that. Absolutely, I did. That was what it was like back then. But now I know better.
Yeah.
And I now know that I'm writing about people's lives and I'm talking about people's lives. And there are real people behind this. And
Yeah.
still to this day, a couple of people that I know, are still, we are real people. You didn't realize we were real people. And that's like almost 10 years on from when I first started.
Uh,
And I'll never forget. In fact, speaking of Osher, Ginsberg, I actually interviewed him a couple of years ago before I left my most recent role. And I said, I have to apologize to you. I asked you a really personal question, and you really taught me a valuable lesson at that
Mm-hmm.
time
Mm-hmm.
because you were so angry. And I vowed I would never do that again
Yeah.
because I knew when I was asked to ask it that it wasn't a good question. I didn't want to ask it, and my gut was telling me not to. And he went off at me on the phone. And I thanked him and I said, you actually, it's almost like you showed me the light, I think. And I guess I've spent all that time since trying to make sure that we just tell good stories and we tell people's, what makes them strong and what makes them resilient. But back then, I'm telling you, this was like 9 years ago. That's what we did. We had to find dirt on people.
Yeah. Yeah. Osher, he came to the final episode filming. Was a rainy day in Melbourne, cold as hell. And yeah, I mean, plot blooper, not bloopers. How do you say?
Plot twist.
No, spoilers. For
Spoiler alert. Spoiler.
yeah, those that haven't
Spoiler.
watched.
If no
Don't,
one's watched this season of The
please,
Bachelors,
don't
do
watch it.
yourself a favor and don't.
And he came and he was very kind. Like I was bawling my eyes out, crying, heartbroken. And he asked to talk to me. He came to my room and he was wrapped. Actually, he didn't need to be there. So he was a very kind human and gave me some advice and things like that. And yeah, I have nothing to say. I haven't seen him ever since. But I have nothing
Mm.
to say against him except that because I haven't watched the show before and I didn't grow up in Brazil. I didn't grow up in Australia, so I had no idea who is who in Australia, who is celebrity, who is famous, who is not, which I loved. I was able to go to Kai and Jackie O and just talk about me and Jackie being neighbors and saying, "Oh, we should go grab an acai bowl," you know. And then the boys are like, "Did you ask Jackie to grab an acai bowl?" I was like, "She's my neighbor. Did you know?" I was like, I don't know who is who. Like, it's just people, which
That
I
is
love.
amazing.
And then when we were filming one of the first rose ceremonies, I noticed that when Osho was talking to us, he was talking normal like he does with his voice and blah, blah, blah. And as soon as rose ceremony starts, he was
He
like,
was like this.
"So I'm sorry, you didn't get a rose. I'll give you time to say goodbye." And then when they cut, I generally just like,
Dude,
I was like, Osho, what happens to your voice when we start doing rose ceremony? And then the boys started laughing. Like, I can't believe you're asking this.
to Osher
Yeah,
Ginsberg, who's been on television for 2
yeah.
decades.
I was
He
just
was the
generally,
Bachelor franchise, though. He was that franchise. Like, if you were gonna, if anyone was synonymous with The Bachelor in Australia or
yeah, he
Bachelorette,
was. Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
Osher.
Legend. And then I found out later that that's kind of his thing. It's like part of his brand.
You did that so well. You should do ASMR.
You didn't get a rose. I was thinking about doing voiceover because
You should.
acting can be so highs and lows. So I was thinking about doing
Oh
some
my God.
especially
And then do
horror.
this.
You know, I just have the anything that pays the bills. Hey,
Yeah.
I put my feet on OnlyFans.
Oh my God.
I'm sure from Virgin to OnlyFans creator.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Would be the funniest character story arc you've ever seen in your entire life.
I feel like my life is just confusing my friends all the time. It's like, what's a wet zone this time? You know, he thought he was going to be a pastor. Now he's at The Bachelor. He's dating 25 girls. And what's next?
Do you know what, though? I do want to say this to you, and I don't think I've ever said it to you, so surprise. You shocked me in so many ways when we started being friends because I genuinely thought you were like Jesus. I thought that you would try to convert me. Yes. I mean, I'm Roman Catholic, but I just genuinely thought that your life was Jesus purely from what I saw on the show.
Yeah.
And that must have, I'm curious, like you said that you had the mental health part of it, which we absolutely did not touch on enough. But what about your identity? Did you have to strip that identity or did not enough people watch the show and they didn't know who you were?
I love that. I'm thankful.
I'm just joking. Some people watched it.
No,
There was people who watched it.
No. I'm so thankful that we didn't rate well. Actually, because allows me to have a more of a blank slate onto.
Right? That's what I wanna know. Like, you have the platform because you did it, but you've
Yeah,
kind of lucky because you haven't had to recreate this identity of, "Hey, I was on The Bachelor and now I wanna do this whole other thing." Or did
yeah,
you find that you
yeah.
didn't know
I
who you
think
were?
I think because I was portrayed in such a I think because I was portrayed in such a religious way, that kind of really pissed me off. One of the reasons that I say that I was broken, and that's kind of just a statement, just like a sanitized statement. I generally in my therapy sessions, I was telling my therapist, I was like, I want to now fuck anything that walks. Like I want to just go. Oh, like, yeah, I was so broken is the right word, but I was so like, I think in a reaction trying to go, I don't wanna be this person that everyone thinks that I am, this super religious guy, so I'm gonna show them that I'm not. And then my therapist has had to go, okay, way, Wes, come down here, like circle back. What are your values? What are the things that you actually want to be known for? Because I was in a reactive mode of I'm not this super religious guy, you know, that I wanted to just rebel against that and just go full Lulu, the Lulu or whatever. And yeah, there was a journey of, I guess, and as well was right when I was questioning as whether I actually wanted to be a minister, whether I actually wanted to live a life at church. And I went from I want to be a pastor to I don't know if I want to, maybe I don't want to, I don't want to. And I had to it was a grieving season as well of 2 years trying to find purpose again, and I realized that there's 2 things there were 2 things in ministry that I loved so much, and was people, genuinely connecting with people, making new friends like this. I love sitting down and just tell me your story, tell me your dreams.
Mm.
There's always 2 questions I ask every time whenever I meet people, which is, "What's your story?" So I get to know you, and, "What's your dream?" And I'm sure I've done this to you
Yeah, you have.
when we were at the Wednesday premiere.
Yeah. That was the best though. How much
Yeah,
fun was that?
that
That
was
was the
so good.
best.
I felt like
Yeah.
that was when I actually got to know you more.
We got to know each other. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That was really, really cool.
Yeah, so people was the best thing for me in ministry, helping people, loving people. And the second thing was communications. I actually preached a few times a Hillsong, and something that I genuinely loved. I genuinely love the feeling of pondering and thinking on concepts and ideas that you can deliver and that unlocks something in people's minds or spirits. I loved that idea. And then I went, okay, where can I be of service? And I was reading Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights, which
Green
I highly
light.
recommend. And I was watching Game of Thrones, and those 2 things combined made me go, I wanna take more risks in my career and what's the riskiest thing I wanted to do, and it was to do acting. So I signed up for acting school in January 2022.
Is that how you did it?
Yeah, that's how.
When you grew up, when you were a kid, what did you think that you were gonna be? Did you think you were gonna be a minister?
So I was 10 years old. My dad went to America, and I stayed with my mom, and my mom raised me and my sister alone. But the idea of having a dad living overseas kind of always gave me this sense of I want to go see the world. So at school, I started developing this sense of being a global citizen, of having international friends or doing things that help people around the world. So I thought that would look like working for United Nations or being an ambassador or working for organizations like Greenpeace, World Vision, things like that. So I always had this sense of I don't want to stay in Brazil. I want to be in a career that allows me to travel, go overseas, international humanitarian aid of some sorts. But then the war in Iraq in 2009, I believe, really made me quite disappointed with international organizations such as United Nations because they couldn't really stop the war. So for me, I was like, do I really want to work for organizations that they're not as power as I thought,
Mm.
peacemakers? So that was when I started feeling this calling for church, and I felt God talking to me. And I understand not many people will understand this, but I felt this call to, yeah, lay down my life and help people and serve and love people. And I was doing my bachelor's in graphic design in that moment. And I told my mom I wanted to drop graphic design and go study theology. And my mom, being Latino mom that she said, no, 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 you're gonna finish what you started. So she didn't let me drop my uni, which I'm thankful for because it's the very thing that is now going to allow me to have permanent residency in Australia. So it's
Oh,
crazy to think the full circle. And then, yeah, and then I stayed, finished my uni, and then mom had cancer and she had breast cancer, then went to her brain. She ended up passing away in 2012. And that's when I went, okay, mom passed away. My sister is married. I think it's time for me to go live the dream of living overseas. And then I found a theological school in Sydney, came study theology and started working for Hillsong, traveled all around the United States with Hillsong. That was some of the best part of my job. And I know Hillsong gets a lot of bad rap in Australia, but outside of Australia, before some scandals that happened in 2022, 2023, they were so loved around the world. It's like
hmm
it was like a movement that gave a youthful expression of Christianity to so many people around the world that made Christianity, lack of a better word, cool, but also made Jesus' message palatable for young people, and
hmm
that's what attracted so many young people to church, to hear things like they are loved, they are forgiven, and learn about generosity and being kind and being respectful. So there were so many incredible things. And they also paid for my master's. I got a scholarship. They paid 30 grand for my
Huh.
master's of theology. Yeah. So I was really blessed in my time over there, and I still have friends. I left in really good terms. I still have so many friends there. I had to tell my boss that I was giving him 2 weeks' notice to do the batch. And he was so confused. He was so confused. Gosh, he's like this carpenter dude. Shout out Lee Barnes if you ever watch this. And he was so like straight 180 kind of guy.
Sorry, he
But
was a carpenter.
yeah, he's a carpenter, but he's got a PhD as well. So he's a very smart man.
Wasn't
And
Jesus
then
a carpenter?
for yes, as well, yeah.
Okay.
Craftsman. We don't know if he was carpenter, but yes. So I, for all intents and purposes, this my boss always thought I was going to be a pastor, and then I come in and say, "Hey, I'm actually resigning, and I'm going to do this thing called the Bachelor." And I kid you not, he was silent for 2 minutes. He was just staring at me, and he didn't know what to say. But then it turns out he watched every episode.
Of
He
course he
was
did.
texting me. I was like, I can't believe I got this guy to watch reality TV. I didn't
That's
think this was
amazing.
my bingo card. Yeah.
Do you know what's really interesting though? Just total side note about people watching reality TV. This is the thing that always is hilarious to me. Some of the
Mm,
smartest people in the world watch reality TV. Some people who don't like reality TV have this misconception that people who watch reality TV, it's frivolous, it's shallow, it's
mm,
whatever. I'm really sorry, but it's the amount of people that I know who are lawyers, doctors, peacekeepers, whatever, who
yeah.
watch reality TV.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
I do want to ask though about your mum, if that's okay. How
Yeah.
old were you when she passed away?
I was 22.
So, was your dad still in the US at the time? So it was just you and your sister caring
Mm-hmm.
for your mum.
Yeah. And yeah, her cancer developed. And then, yeah, I still remember I was doing my final months of uni and I was writing my thesis. And then my mom had a seizure and my phone rang. I was living far from home. I was interstate. And my phone rang and my sister said, Wes, mom just had a seizure. And the doctor said that she has 6 months of life. If I were you, I would come home now. And then, yeah, I still remember it was like the air was sucked out of my lungs. I couldn't think properly. I had like a blackout, and I started walking through the city, trying somehow to arrive to go home. And I just remember being so disorientated. And I think I texted a few friends and something along the lines of, I think my mom is going to die. So they found me in the middle of the city. And then I managed to call some of my teachers because I had my final thesis to present. And they were so kind to say, Wes, just drop it. You go. And then I went home and mom had mom was in a bed in hospital, and I remember arriving, giving her a hug. She tried to smile, but she was so under full of drugs. And the doctor said, "Look, there's nothing we can do to change the natural course of life." I'll never forget his words. So I would take her home if you guys want. So we took her home, and then we looked after her. We were showering her, changing her clothes, feeding her. She was mostly laying in bed by the living room. And then 3 days after Christmas, she passed away. Yeah. There's some songs that she used to ask us to play, worship songs that would say words like, "I believe you're my healer. I believe you can heal me." That to this day I cannot listen. If I will cry if I listen to. But yeah, I think life changes. Funny enough, life changes once you experience death so close to you. My mom's death made me now really want to live fully. Like, and by living fully, I mean making sure, number one, that people that I love know that I love them. So I feel like with my friendships, I might be a little bit extra sometimes in terms of I would randomly text friends and just encourage them and just say, "Hey, I love you. I'm here if you need me." And it will be the most random text to receive. But in my head, I feel this kind of I need to make sure that people that I love know that I love them before they can't feel this love anymore. You know. So I have this deep sense of the finite nature of life, and it really reprioritizes life to me. Like I drive a 20-year-old Honda Jazz, and I have no shame to say that. And because for me, I'll much rather use my money to go see the world and
Mm.
travel and see my sister and pay for her as I've done twice for her to come to Australia than just have the newest car. I couldn't give two shits about the newest car. I just want to live life to the fullest. So yeah, there's a big shift that happens when you lose someone, I think.
Have you ever thought about doing this, what I'm doing, and sharing? Because you don't have to make it religious in a sense, I think everything happens for a reason, and I feel like your purpose is to definitely reach everybody, and I'm sure your mum is helping you do that.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm open to, I'm in my fourth career change right now. I was a graphic designer, became a marketing coordinator, then studied theology to become a pastor. Now I'm an actor. So I love acting, and I had the chance to do some incredible things. Yeah, I got to work with Mark Wahlberg, which was super fun. I told you, and did a play last year, and I love the powerful nature of you go watch something and that plants a seed in you that can change you. So I only started thinking about adoption after I watched the Sandra Bullock movie. I forgot the name of the movie now.
Oh my god.
It's the second time I referenced this movie.
She won a Oscar for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh god, what was it called?
Sandra Bullock adoption movie. The Blind Side.
The Blind Side.
Yes. So yeah, I never had ever thought about adopting, and then I watched The Blind Side, and I went at the end, oh, maybe I will be open to adopting one day. And similarly, like the whole manosphere conversation, I remember there's a few people talking about it here and there. I had a friend, good friend of mine, who was talking in schools about manosphere, but then adolescence comes, and then boom, that's the thing that everybody's talking about, of course, because of streamers as well. But I was like, wow, storytelling has this power of conversation. And to do, I think the most powerful thing is to change people's minds, because we don't change our minds easily.
Mhm.
We do things our ways. The older we get, the harder it gets to change people's minds. But there's something about stories and taking people on a journey that has that power to change their minds. So I do think still about, is acting going to be it forever, or my passion is going to change again? I thought about becoming politician sometimes because I pick up fights for others all the time. The casting director was one, for example. But yeah, I don't know. I do feel like whatever I do, I want to make sure that it has people involved. It's about people are the prize. That's what I said in the Bachi. People were the prize. Yeah.
Before we talk about that casting director, with your mum, is there anything that, apart from living your life to the fullest, what was one thing that she taught you that you carry with you? all the time?
I think my mom had an attitude that I'm yet to find elsewhere. It was an attitude of someone that had nothing to lose, but not it wasn't for her own gains, but for others.
Mm.
And she was fearless. So there was a time when the government wanted to shut it down. The business that she had was a clothing store. The council wanted to shut it down because her license expired. And she had talked to the council many times about renewing, and they weren't renewing for her. But the business was what she had to raise me and my sister. So my mom then finds out where the mayor of the city has a weekly radio program, and then she goes and camps outside the radio program. And as soon as the mayor leaves, she asks to talk to him on the spot. And she says, I have two children I have to raise, and they wanted to take my license away. What can you do for me? And then the mayor had the audacity to say, ma'am, do you know how many people are fighting for licenses like this? Why should I help you and not everybody else on the waiting list? And my mom turned to him and said, because I'm here, I'm talking to you, and I voted on you. So for my mom, she instilled in me this attitude of if you need to get something done, nothing will stop you. If a couple of months ago in November 2024, I had ran out of options to stay in Australia. I was almost packing my bags because there was no more visas that I could apply for. So I was nearly leaving the country that I call home for 10 years.
Oh my God.
I went to talk to my MP. I went to talk to Allegra Spender to see if she could do something for me because I wanted to stay here. And then her team was very kind. And then I found out that I had other friends who were friends with the Minister of Immigration. And they said, Wes, write a letter to the Minister of Immigration. And I wrote a letter and I wrote him an email and I took it to Allegra. And if I had to go to the Prime Minister, I would because
Mm.
I don't care. Like I don't stop easily at no's. And I think that's something my mom taught me, you know, especially she came from a poor background. She grew up in favelas in Rio, in the slums. So yeah, my mom is teaching me this go-getter attitude, and
Oh,
I
that's
love that.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And look at you, you're here now.
Yes,
You're
yes.
still here and you've got
And I'm applied for my
PR.
permanent residency. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. The processing time is 18 to 22 months. I
But they
cannot.
can't kick you out while you're waiting for it, right? No.
No, but it's a mental toll because you have to stay in your job. You have to, it's a while. It's a waiting thing now, and
It's
I'm
a waiting
almost.
game. But you're so
Yeah.
grateful to your job. Like, you love it
Mhm.
there, so it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Good.
that must be how lucky that you've landed somewhere who are basically paying for you to stay in the country.
Yeah, and that was the next fight I'm about to pick actually, because I am lucky to be in a job that I love with a really good boss, encouraging.
Mm,
But imagine you are employed by someone that knows they have that power over you, that they can keep paying you low. They can do whatever they want with you because they know that you need them because they're waiting for a permanent residency. So there's a lot of exploitation that can happen. So I feel like I have a platform, I have contacts, I know people in the media, and someone has to blow the whistle, I think.
wow. And this is happening to friends of yours?
This is happening to, there's a lot of immigrant communities on Facebook of people that are waiting, and it's happening under the radar of people just having mental health issues because they cannot speak up to the employers because if the employers fire them, their status in Australia is attached to their job. So it's a whole thing that I think more media needs people need to know what people are going through to call Australia home.
Because they absolutely, if they blow the whistle themselves, they're going to be out of a job and have to go back home. That's
Yes.
their livelihood. That's
Yes.
horrific. And
Yeah.
that's happening
Yeah.
everywhere in Australia.
Yeah, so immigration is a passion of mine, is a topic, of course. I'm invested and I have a somewhat platform now that I would love to use. Yeah. I think you could help a lot of people. Yeah.
It is so important. One thing that you're teaching me, and also I think a lot of people should be taking from you, is how important it is to use your platform for good.
As small as it may be, you might not even think you have one. I didn't even think when, to be honest, I had a platform when I called out discussing director behavior last year, but I
Yeah,
had.
definitely share that. Because that's something that is so important that people know about.
Yeah, so yeah, it was a conflict of interest behavior, and I I got into acting and quickly made so many friends, directors, producers, casting directors, other actors. And the way it goes is, Anita, you want to become an actress and you sign with an agent. The agent submits you to a bunch of jobs. And then if a casting director thinks you are a good fit for the project, they ask you to audition. So you receive an audition request, you do your best, submit your tape, and then most of the times you never hear back because that's the nature of the job. There's a lot of rejections. But when you do hear back, you do another callback. If you book the job, great, awesome. And then most of 99% of the times you never hear back from casting direct. But what this specific casting director was doing was emailing back everyone that didn't get the job, offering a mentorship of $1,000 to get you more opportunities, to put you through more jobs. And that is just it's a conflict of interest because you are the gatekeeper. You're the one that chooses people for the jobs, but you're also using language about providing a service that can give you more opportunity. It's some people in the industry call that pay to play.
Pay to play. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's something that happens in a lot of even in media, in digital
Yes.
media.
Yes, exactly. So when that happened to me, I started asking around, and it turns out that it had happened to a lot of people, and it had been happening for over 20 years. And I just went, how is no one saying anything about this? I don't understand. The reputation is there, everyone knows. And then I I think, took a bold movement and put it on my Instagram story, and I got like 20 messages back. And because of The Bachelor, there were a few journalists following me. And I literally said, hey, if anyone needs a story, here's a story for you. And
Mhm.
Zara from Daily Mail was bold enough to pick up and did her investigation and due diligence and talk to more people that decided to come forward. And again, similar to the Me Too, people were so scared because actors want to book jobs. So they were scared of calling out a casting director and feel like they will be blacklisted from all the other casting directors. And then what this whole journey showed us is that there's a specific casting director who's not even a part of the governing body, the Casting Guild of Australia, for reasons, you know? So that wasn't going to be an issue at all. And in fact, both MEAA and Casting Guild Australia did a joint statement, warning actors against practices like this. So yeah, there was an investigation. I don't know the outcomes, but I think it was something that what I heard afterwards was a lot of positive feedback. A lot of actors that felt like they didn't have power to speak up, they felt empowered to, and things like that are happening all over the industry. And that's the funny thing of coming from a pastoral ministry background to an entertainment industry, because I came from a world where it's all about die to yourself, be kind, be generous, be respectful. It's not about you. Let's help each other. That's the word of churches, to a world of
Mm.
entertainment where it's all about how well you look, how well you're connected, how well you perform, where you can help me get to. It's about you. It's so much about you. So I came with this naivety as well of like, what, like justice, kind of like we need to do justice to people. So yeah, it turned out, I think, a positive outcome overall. But yeah, it was a wild ride. Glad we did.
It's just so amazing. I mean, it was so obvious why you had to do The Bachelor now.
Yeah,
Don't you think?
yeah. Hindsight, the blessing of hindsight. Hey,
Right?
yeah,
Because Lee Burns,
yeah,
he was like, The Bachelors, but now look at what you're able to do because you've
yeah.
got a following, no matter how big it is. You're able to do these incredible things. And as somebody who has blown the whistle and has had to start all over again because of it, it takes certain people to be able to stand up
Hmm.
and to say this is not right
Hmm.
and it should not be happening.
Yeah, yeah. And if my hope is that more and more people feel encouraged to, and I'm glad that more people came forward. It wasn't just me, which is I'm so glad, and it blew up. Like there was a Reddit comment, a Reddit
Thread.
commu- a thread that blew off. There were people on Facebook groups blowing off. There were so many people that had so many stories. So I really hope that people feel empowered to use their voices, as small or big the platforms are, and just look out for each other. And yeah, I feel like now being 5 years into the industry, I have my people, I have the ones that I trust.
Yeah.
I have the ones that I'm still sussing and I ask you about it.
And I'm really honest.
And I was like, oh, maybe I'm not going to be that super close then.
Yeah. No, but I mean, you know about my psychic
Hmm.
abilities, but I do recognize when people are in it for themselves. And look, as you said, full circle moment, you did say everyone is always in it for themselves in some degree, to some degree. That's human nature. But
Hmm.
it is very easy for me, unless I'm learning a huge lesson, to
Hmm.
realize when people are in it for the wrong reasons for whatever reason. And it's really hard in our industry. I mean, you said to me offline before, you find it really hard sometimes going into these events that we go to. Samesies. And I've been doing this a whole decade.
That's why we need to go together.
I know, we got to go together. I know. And Mick will
Yes.
be our third wheel. I mean, you'll third wheel us, whatever. But I have my people now. We stick to our people. And
Yeah.
yeah, you're like, oh my God, hi, 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 hi. You
Yeah.
see everybody and whatever. But when my mental health was really suffering, my brain, and still, when I say was, it still is. I mean, sometimes
Mm.
you'll text me and I won't respond for like
Mhm.
2 to 3 weeks
Mhm.
because my brain, it is too much. And
Yeah.
going into an environment like that, you have to be really, really willing to suck up everybody else's energy.
Yeah.
And it is very, was I invited? Can I, did I get an interview? Did
Oh,
I get to do this? Who did that? What did you do? Did you go on the red carpet? Did you get your photo taken? He didn't got his
yeah.
photo taken.
No.
And it's so
You have to have
scary.
your mental resilience so strong because I don't think there are many industries where quote unquote success is just shining at you all the time. Like
My God,
I'm gonna
yes.
I'm gonna be honest with you. First time I went to ACTA Awards in Gold Coast. Afterwards, I had to kind of have a few days to kind of uh, come back to my senses because I'm going at an environment where I'm seeing people that are where I want to be. And I know that's not always healthy, but people are winning prizes that I would want to win. So, not many, so it's kind of like a leveling playing field, but to not compare yourself, to not be jealous, to not be that. It takes a mental
Oh,
resilience and a deep identity of who you are, of your time, of your lane, of whatever divine you have, it was, and it's still, so now when I go to the ACT Awards, because I do find it's a good place to keep meeting people in the industry. I need to
absolutely.
prepare myself mentally of whereas you're going to see people winning awards, celebrate them. Just take your time. It's your lane. You're not competing with anyone. So it's a wild industry to be at. Not many other industries will be so prone to comparison and to things like that.
You have just hit the nail on the head, particularly as somebody who is not around for nearly 2 years. The FOMO of missing out on actually everyone doing everything that you used to do and couldn't do anymore, or doing even better things than you ever did, and winning awards and doing all of these amazing things. It is the most debilitating experience if you're not ready.
Mm,
And now I do this thing called To Be Magnetic. It's about journaling and it's manifesting, but for
mm,
me, I get so much more out of it than the
mm,
manifesting itself. It's like there's a lot of meditations they call deep imaginings, and it really speaks to your soul of where you are in that moment of like, where did this come from? What wound is this hitting? It's
mm.
like the most incredible thing, and it's really soul searching. I'll send it to you.
Yes.
But it's one of those things that they say is that you can switch it around when you're ready. And they're not saying this, I'm saying this. When you're ready to, because there is that moment of these people are doing what I want to do, and there is that green-eyed monster, or that ability to go, I'm not anywhere near there. Oh my God, this is really intimidating. Or you could flip it around and say, I am surrounding myself by people who are
Mm,
doing what I want to do because I'm going to be up there with them one day. And that's what they call expanders in To Be Magnetic. It is so fascinating. It's a healing process.
mhm.
But what I would recommend when you go to the ACTA Awards, it's so funny because people would look at you and be like, look what Wes is doing already. Look what I would love to be where he is.
And I'm a nobody. When I first went there, people were like, "Oh, did you come with Warner Brothers in their bachelor crew?" I was like, "No, I paid my flights. I'm crashing at a friend's couch. I am here." Like I asked, like I was given so many suits from Bachelor, so I'll give that to them.
Oh,
They gave
wow. You got to keep your suits. Is that because they were never doing the show again?
that's the thing at all. Well, the stylist gave us like 3 bags of clothes, like was insane. Didn't keep all the suits because they were loans, but no, we kept a bunch of clothes.
That's
But yeah, like
hilarious.
that's the thing of some that's a funny thing about social media is the highlight reel. I need to yeah,
Yeah.
need to post more real stuff because it's a game of perception. Hey,
Completely. And this is the thing, like, I have people in my life who would kill to do what I'm doing. And I'm like, I'm doing nothing compared to my friends. Like, they're so excited for me. They're like, can you put this person on your podcast? And I'm like, I would
Mhm.
love to have the cast of Ted Lasso on one day.
Oh my gosh, I lost it. Oh, black
Greatest show. You need
God,
to watch Rooster and you need to watch. Have you seen Rooster yet on Apple
no,
TV? And
no.
Shrinking. It's all by the same people. They're some of the most intelligently written, phenomenal. You would love Shrinking. Harrison Ford is my idol. I'm obsessed with him. You have to watch these shows. It's all by the same guys who did Scrubs. They did
Okay,
Ted Lasso. Yeah, it's
okay.
incredible.
So now that we're talking about shows and we're putting things out there,
Mm.
whoever's watching this, I'm hoping the casting director for Game of Thrones will watch this. And please let me tell you that I would be in that show. In one of the spin-offs, one of the seasons, mark my words, I will work on Game of Thrones in some capacity.
I can see you doing it. You'd be
Yes.
one of the hot hands. Is that what they're called? Hands? Do they have dragon slayers? I don't
Uh,
know.
yeah, it's laying everything.
Slaying dragons. I have watched Game of Thrones. I've watched every single episode and House of the Dragon, and I understand nothing.
Really? It's a lot
Yeah.
of politicking.
It's
Yeah.
because if it's
Yeah.
too intense, I'm like, oh, yeah, they're blonde hair, so they are Targaryen.
But
I know that.
how funny is that we go so sad when a dragon dies? I'm like, the creature kind of
Oh,
so emotionally attached to
but it
it.
was really sad. I had Steve Toussaint. I got to meet him. Oh my God, what a dream. He plays Corlys
Yeah,
Velaryon.
I saw. Wow.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's the best. It was beautiful. I'm just
Was his publicity? Now I want to ask you a question. Was his publicity team quite like? Is HBO publicity quite like as
No, they're
pleased?
the best. No,
Really?
they were the best. We were told only to ask about the show. I did ask about his career. I didn't ask about just purely House of the Dragon. But you
Hmm.
will find that a lot of the time when you do interviews, particularly with those big movie houses, so like Universal, Disney, etc., when you do have, and you usually get 5 minutes with them. We got 10 with him. But you
Wow.
get 5 minutes. I've done 3-minute interviews before. So you might literally be seeing one question on social media, and that's because you get 3 minutes with them. But yeah, I remember doing an interview with Lily Rose Depp, and it was around the time that her dad was having the whole thing with Amber Heard and he was on trial. I think it
Oh,
was just before the trial, and they pulled me into a separate Zoom room and were like, just reminder, no questions about her father. So you do get stuff like that. But HBO, they were cool. Like, it was really cool. It was the local HBO team, beautiful team here, but the overseas team weren't there. So I can totally see you doing Game of Thrones. Like, I was going to say Handmaid's Tale.
that's why
House of
I'm
the
growing my
Dragon.
hair. I'm
Yeah, I
growing my
love the curls.
because I'm like, haven't watched Off Campus yet, but I see all the leads having long hair. I'm like, okay, Hollywood, you're loving long hair. I see it. I'd never grow
You,
my
yeah, look, Off Campus,
hair.
great TV show. The books were great. The boys,
Mm,
I just love it. They're made for the female gaze, that show. It is made for the female gaze and the gays actually love that show too.
mm.
Actually, everyone loves it. It's great. What am I
Oh,
even saying? But Look, I can absolutely see that for you. I love your hair long. It's great.
Thanks. Appreciate
Curls
it.
get the girls.
Yes, let's go, please. Because love life sucks
Still
again.
single?
I feel like I'm giving you so many one-liners that you can just...
I feel like I'm not going to do this edit justice.
Gosh, there was something I missed, I think, in the male formation of, flirting and being sexy and yeah. Do you know Lucy from TV Week?
Yes.
My press junket with her. She was like, "What do you like most about yourself?" I was like, "Lucy, I don't even find myself attractive, to be honest." She was like, "What? Shut up." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know how I
Lucy's the
got
best.
selected in this show." She was like, "Wesley, do you realize that to be chosen as a bachelor, you had to be somewhat good looking?" I was like, "Well, yeah, fair enough." But I feel
You're
like
like, I'm just from Brazil.
maybe I'm just above the average, and I tick the diversity box,
Not all
because
of them have been good looking.
they got absolutely railed for just casting 3 white guys before, so.
Oh, I'm dying to say. By the way we met was when
Oh, yes, you need
because
to
he hit
tell
on
it.
me at the bar.
Yes. Hey, everyone, I hit it on Anita in a boat, and I remember she was wearing a leather dress, and she declined me twice. I went on her twice, and
Did
yeah.
you?
And just now letting everyone know that I hit on Anita 1 year before the show, and she said no. And then
I'm dying to know. Did you tell the guys after you had that interview? Did you go, I think
no,
I know her?
no, I didn't. I just kept to myself until because I wasn't too sure because the Zoom quality wasn't too good, and I was like,
You
this."
guys were feral. It was hilarious. So, final question that I ask all my guests is, what is one phone call that changed your life?
Mine is sad though. There was 2 calls that changed my life. The one I've already said, which was when my sister told me that my mom had 6 months of life. I'll never forget the phone call ever. It's impossible. And the second phone call that changed my life was when my immigration agent called me in Brazil to tell me that after a month waiting, my visa to Australia had been approved. And I didn't think it was going to be approved because I didn't have enough financial funds that the government requires for people from developing countries to come to Australia. And he said, "Whereas I think it was a miracle. Your visa was approved. Are you ready? You're good to go to Australia." And I jumped. I couldn't stop jumping. I was at my job, at my workplace, and I kept screaming, screaming, screaming. I'm going to Australia. I can't believe it. It was a dream of going to live overseas. So that call, I still have recorded. I have my reaction recorded. A friend all over the phone, he recorded it, and yeah, changed my life. And I
And
love
now
it.
look at you. You're
Right.
here with us. We're so
Yeah,
lucky to have you.
so happy to be here.
Don't forget about us when you're a famous Hollywood star.
Ever. I'll carry you around.
Yeah.
I will be like George Clooney. You know how he gave $1 million to 14 of his best friends? I
That
will
will
be
be.
that guy.
But wasn't it because every single person had to say yes
Had to say yes to what?
to the 14 million or none of them got it?
All I know is that he gave $1 million to 14 best friends. And I was like, Jesus, you know my heart. I'm generous. Jesus, test me with abundance. Test me with a lot of money.
Now you give it up to Jesus.
Yeah.
You say, test me, Jesus. I actually give it up to Gus and Sue.
What is that?
Gus is God, universe, source, and Sue is source, universe, energy. So I'm like, Gus and Sue will take care of it. And you're like, Jesus will take care of it. And we'll both be rich.
100%. I believe it.
I love that for us. This has been the best.
So good.
Thank you so much. That was so much fun.
Thanks, Anita. Lovely to be here. Thanks so much for having me. And let's hang out more.
Hey, it's me again. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Anita podcast with my friend Wes. If you're not already, please like and subscribe to the Anita podcast wherever you listen so you never miss an episode. And if you want more, I'm talking full episodes, behind the scenes stuff, clips from interviews, follow me at hi.itsanita on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And remember, go be curious about someone. You never know what you're going to find. Bye.
The Anita Podcast.